The implications then of not disclosing a hazardous hobby to your insurer, what are they?
Yeah, that's the calamity. What you wouldn't want to do is to lose your leg or your eyesight or whatever, and then find out that the activity that you did wasn't covered under the policy. So normally there's in your policy document, you will find a list of contractual exclusions. This is now things that will say if you drive a car under the influence, you're not covered. If you partake in criminal activities and maybe the police shoot you or whatever the case might be, then you're not covered. So there's a few contractual exclusions that you will read or you must read in your policies. If you then still unsure that your activity, maybe hang gliding or whatever it is not covered, then you must declare to the insurer, which then will normally give you a questionnaire that you have to fill out. For instance, the risk is based on not only the severity or the danger of the activity, but how frequently you do it. Therefore, if you do, like Pokemon Go, maybe if you don't do it every day and it's not your occupation, you only do it in your free time, it's not a risk. But if you're a professional diver, for instance, and you do it all the time to very deep depths, then there's an extra risk premium to be paid. And if you didn't declare it beforehand, you do the activity, and by chance the insurer, when you die or get injured, get notice of that activity, then they can really, it's a contractual breach basically. Then they can usually decide not to pay such a claim.
So what are the main things that people need to keep in mind when taking out cover if they have hobbies that could be deemed hazardous?
The main point is you must declare. Once you disclosed what you're doing, it is up to the insurer to ask the kind of questions that they want and underwrite that risk. That's the most important point. And it is always better to declare more than you think it's necessary. Okay? And if you're unsure that if your activity is now covered or not covered, then it's best to ask them. They usually got call centers or whatever that will help you to make a decision about
that. What you mentioned earlier about road dangers, etc., and I believe South African underwriters are moving towards an approach that consider sort of everyday dangers. Is that specifically a sort of trend that's happening more so with South African underwriters? Because generally we do face probably a few more dangers here.
Yes. It is very interesting to analyze those kind of dangers in depth. For example, you can look at car accidents and the mortality towards that, and then you look at motorbikes. And then you can divide into big engines and small engines, and see which one is the most dangerous and which should pay what kind of premium. The whole drive in insurance is really to be fair to the applicant and fair to the other applicants who's not doing the activity. So what we try and do is to analyze those risks on a very detailed level in order so that each one can pay a fair premium towards it.
In other words, the South African insurance business is booming.
Well,
it's good business.
Yes, because we public perceive our environment to be dangerous. There's all kinds of insurance that you can take out, depending on your perception of risk, really. There's things that can cover your child for a snake bite or a head injury or meningitis. It is things that people don't think about till you're a parent. and then you know that if your child is paralyzed, what the costs may be. So yeah, insurance everywhere is an important aspect of life.
Okay, Doctor, thanks for your insight.
Been a pleasure. Thank you.